Hi everyone. So if your finance team is using fixed asset location to track department or cost center or using financial dimensions to track physical location, then your reporting is probably already wrong. So in Dynamics, these two look very similar, but they serve very different purposes. In this video, I'm going to show you when to use each one, what goes wrong if you mix them up, and how to design this correctly in real projects. So with that, I'm going to start with the real problem we see in projects. So in many implementations, teams struggle with the simple question, should we use fixed asset location or should we use financial dimensions to track things like department, site, or cost center? So very often people mix these two, and the result is bad reporting, messy data, and later on, expensive redesign. So this is not really a configuration problem, but it's more a design decision. And with that in mind, let's deep dive into what is fixed asset location and what is the financial dimensions. So first thing, the location is meant for operational or physical tracking of assets. So think about which plant, warehouse, office, or site that asset is used in. And the location answers the question, where is this asset physically or operationally used? It's not mainly for accounting. It is more for operational visibility and tracking purposes. So now if we move on to the next slide on the fixed asset financial dimensions, what are those dimensions for? So they are mostly for accounting and the management reporting. Typically, examples are department, cost center, business unit, or profit center. So these answer questions like, who owns this cost? How do I report this in the general ledger? And how do I analyze asset values in my financial reports? So now the typical question is, why this goes wrong so often? That's because they look like simple attributes of an asset, and people just want a field to store information quickly. But in the long run, this will lead to broken reports and also the confusion between operational and financial views. So I'm going to show you in Dynamics what are those two fields located so you can visually see that difference. So now, opening up the Dynamics screen, I'm going to navigate to Fixed Asset module. And let's just open one single fixed asset card. So this is part of the master data. So opening up this building 001 for corporate headquarters, so land and building type. The first concept we talked about, the physical location, is actually located here under location. So you have this field location. This is utilized to track the physical location. Currently, we have marked as headquarters. And the other concept we talked about from financial dimension wise is going to books. And then for each book, you have the possibility to define the financial dimensions for that specific asset. So currently you can see we have business unit financial dimension. And currently we're saying, okay, this is a building located at headquarters, but this is financially owned by the home business unit 001. So that addresses perfectly the case when you have physical location different from the financial ownership, right? And if I open up this drop down, we can also select, so let's say this is a building owned by headquarters, and at the same time, financially it's also owned by head office. So if that's the case, then I can browse through this financial dimension value and select this head office value. So this means this asset is physically located at headquarters and also owned by the head office. So if you have a lot of scenarios where you do have difference between ownership and physical location, then this is a perfect place where you can separate those two values. So coming back to the PowerPoint document, let's continue with some design scenarios. So scenario one, let's say the business wants to report assets by physical site. For example, by factory A versus factory B. So in this case, the location would make more sense. And next one, if we move on to scenario two, so basically the business wants to report assets by owning department or cost center or financial analysis. In this case, we will use the financial dimensions. This is what we just demoed before. And finally, for scenario three, if the asset will move from one site to another, but at the same time, the ownership department stays the same. So in this case, you should separate the two. Use location for where it physically is, and then dimensions for who owns it financially. And a simple rule of thumb, let's say location is for where the asset is used or stored, and dimensions are for how you report and analyze the cost. So if you mix these two, eventually for reporting, it's going to be a pain, because financially, when you book to the financial dimensions, that means when you run the trial balance, you will be able to filter out per dimension the total amounts acquired, depreciated, etc., right? And if you only log as location for that physical location field, that means on your TB, you will not be able to report per physical location. So the only thing you can do, for example, if I come back to this asset, from the master data sheet side, you can actually add a column for location. And from master data perspective, you can provide the physical location matching to each asset. This is the type of reporting if you choose the physical location. All right, so with that, a quick wrap up. Again, this is not just a configuration choice, it's a design decision, right? So we need to always decide based on business needs and reporting requirements, understanding what is the outcome of the reporting we want to have from trial balance or a statistical master data report. So once we get this right, it will save a lot of time and troubleshooting in the future. All right, so this is a short and sweet one. I hope this is helpful. Please comment down below if you want to see other fixed asset related topics or main issues you wanted to hear out about the design. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.